Well, hello there, humans. Bushka here, and today we're going to be talking about the Scar L, the 5.56 World Drop AR. It's a hell of a weapon now. In fact, it's skyrocketed up the charts with the recent buffs from Update 2.1. I'm going to tell you what those buffs were, for starters, so that you can maybe understand why I'm so excited about this weapon. I'm going to tell you about the recoil buffs, and I'm not just going to give you a pretty spray pattern. I'm going to give you the actual numbers as I see them. And we're going to discuss where this weapon sits in the meta, why this is such a strange change to the weapon itself, and a whole lot more about the game. So watch on, sub up, hit the notification button, and you'll never miss another moment of what is a truly wonderful community.
Watch out.
Now, the first thing we have to tackle head on here is the base damage buff. And this is a really historic buff because until this moment, the QBZ95, the G36C, the M416, the AUG A4, the Scar L, the M16A4, they all had exactly the same base damage. The Scar L is the first gun to break ranks and get a little bit more off the top. The Scar L's base damage is now 42.0. That's 1.1 damage more than the M416, etc. at 40.9. It's not just about that tiny buff though, the 1.1 damage buff. That might not sound like a lot, but there's two super important numbers in PUBG Mobile. There's 100 and there's 75. 100 is how many hit points a player has. He has 100 health. 75 is how much health a player has after they hit a first aid and heal back up to 75%. They're called breakpoints, and the fastest weapon past those breakpoints wins the prize, which is the gunfight. The M416, if someone has a 75% heal hit and they're wearing a level 2 vest, will clear that vest in 4 shots. It does 24.5 damage to a level 2 vest. The Scar L will clear that vest in 3 shots. And that's where 1.1 damage will literally be the difference between you winning a game and losing a game. Now, not everything is going to be a level 2 vest. Sometimes you're firing into all kinds of different numbers. But more damage is good, okay? And having more damage at least opens up the option that you're going to knock someone who is on super low health rather than just take another round to do it. And that extra round could be the difference between you getting knocked, a teammate bleeding out. It's all about the margins here. And they really did just buff it on the margins. They also increased its ability to hold that damage over distance at 100 meters, for instance. An M416 will do slightly less damage, but it's 40.9. It does 39.6. Hang on, that's not right. Yeah, it is. It's 39.6. I cannot believe I remembered that off the top of my head. But there you go. The Scar L, though, will do 40.7. That's right. I know this because we tested it. The guys are awesome. The Scar L does 40.7 at 100 meters. So it does a whole point more than the M416, 1.1 more than the M416 at 100 meters as well, which is brilliant, right? And that means that you are more likely to knock targets at distance or using the Scar L as a sniper or a pseudo DMR or spraying like this. Now I'm going to show you the recoil numbers, and this is a graph that I drew up. It's very simple and it's very straightforward, and it shows just how fine-tuned these weapons are. Obviously, we do the sprays, and then we measure the I measure the individual pixels between each round, each bullet hole there in the wall, and we get an average vertical and an average horizontal recoil. The top line is horizontal recoil. The bottom line is vertical recoil. Obviously, there's more vertical. And the Scar L has received a small reduction in horizontal recoil, and that is absolutely key. There's not much difference between the two weapons, to be honest, in terms of horizontal recoil or vertical recoil. And 5.56 ARs as a rule are so light in terms of recoil that it doesn't really make a difference in terms of practicality. You can spray with this weapon, you can CQC with this weapon. Either way, as long as your sensitivity is set up correctly, you're going to be fine. I would recommend that for your spraying, you use an angled grip and a compensator. And for your CQC, you can stick with the angled grip, or if you really want to go whole hog, run a thumb grip and a compensator. Both those work, but you know, it's a 5.56 AR. Look, the recoil is light. Your sensitivity is everything. I love spraying with a 3x better. I sometimes have a 4x on it just because I can't help myself and I want to reach for the stars. Or you can go with the 6x and do the lay down thing. It's all up to you. I've been running 2 Scarels on occasion lately. The Compensator Thumb Grip and Red Dot will give you a 30% CQC ADS bonus, which is huge. Angle Grip has a good solid ADS bonus. I think it's about 15%, but it's not as good as the Thumb Grip. And if you want to go all out as a CQC ADS weapon, it's excellent for that too. I love the way it sounds. I love the way it looks. And overall, I couldn't be happier with this patch. They've buffed it, but they've not overcooked the apple. Now I want to talk a little bit about the place in the meta and some stuff that is worrying me a lot. At no point in time over the past couple of years have I thought the real problem with the game is that 5.56 ARs aren't strong enough. Never. That's never been something I've thought about. I never thought that the AKM was weak either. And what we've got happening at the moment is called power creep. And I have a real issue with this because the player is 100 hit points. And all these guns are getting buffs. The UMP and SMGs in general have been buffed 3 times. The AKM has been buffed 3 times. The Scarel has got more damage. The Beryl M762 has been buffed. The MG3 has been introduced to the game. Awesome. These are incredible steps forward. The AMR has been introduced to the game in terms of diversity of weapons, and that's great. The Vector's been buffed. Like the shotguns got buffed out the yin yang. Like we're talking S12K now is an absolute monster. My problem with all that is armor hasn't been buffed and the players themselves haven't got more hit points. And I think that this is power creep. Everything's getting stronger and stronger and stronger, so you make everything else stronger because you don't want to nerf someone's favorite weapon. So rather than nerf the M416, we buff the Scarel. Or we make the Scarel better than the M416, and maybe people start using the Scarel more and not so much M4ing. You need to somehow take a step back and mitigate the damage. We are seeing more and more like the UMP madness, where like the UMP is just insane. I get killed by the UMP and it's very, very, very dodgy. Like it's just a little bit of desync and a 20 millisecond player and you feel like you've been instant. Like it's bang, you're dead. And you never even really saw the player coming. Putting more damage into the game isn't the answer for that. It's not the answer at all. Improving the netcode, upping the tick rate on servers. These are things that I would love to see before I see guns getting more damage. But for all that, the place in the meta for the Scarel now has really been solidified. It's better than the M416 in my opinion. It just is. More damage is more important. It's not hard to put a Scarel on the target. Certainly, it might be a couple of percentage points harder to put the Scarel on target than it is to put the M416 on target. But that ain't a whole lot. You can see in these, I'm a potato. And if I can point this thing in the right direction and get it to sit down, thanks very much, then it's fine. We're doing lots of videos like this on the channel at the moment. I really hope you sub up and you share these videos because I'd like to think that this way of looking at the game and being able to break it down into bite-sized chunks with the individual guns and doing videos on them and the stat hunting that we do on those weapons really will make it something that you can then put into your own gameplay. Knowledge is power, and knowing that the Scarel has a better CQC variant than the M416 may well win you more gunfights, because I know most of the player base just follows. And I'd like to think that the humans here on this channel are not the kind of sheep who are just going to follow because M416 is the best. There's a lot of loadouts that I'm enjoying now. I'm back to running the Mortal all the time. Like, not anything special, but the actual proper old Mortal, the AKM and a DP28. I also want to have a chat with people about the candid sight at some point, because I use the candid sight all the time. And I find that if you're running anything like a Car9, running a Scarel with a 3x and a candid sight works absolutely gorgeous. You can get a whole lot of value for your money on that. Anyway, boys and girls, that's enough. Please sub up, please subscribe, please be nice to the people around you. Try and create a good sense of community here on the channel and talk to each other, get to know. You can always join the Discord server. Try and chat to Hockey Rupp and the boys and girls down there in the subs and grubs section of the Discord server and get yourself a game. Otherwise, just have a great day, have a great time, and bye for now.